Good evening, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Alright, so today we'll be looking at Sir Lovelot. This game just came out this week. It's $13.49 Canadian on the PlayStation Store, and it is the PS5 version that I am playing here.
Okay.
It is a platformer. Very reminiscent. Ooh, look at these PS5 graphics, guys.
Wow. They're good.
It reminds me a lot of Super Meat Boy from a control standpoint.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it also has, like, spikes and saw-looking things, too, so I guess that's...
I will say that the controls don't feel as precise as they do in Super Meat Boy.
Okay.
So the objective is to get to the princess at the end of the level, or maiden. I don't know if it's a princess, but whatever. At the beginning of every level, the last princess, like, kicks you out.
That's actually pretty awesome.
So you gotta go find another one. And apparently there's a lot of maidens, because there's like 40 or so levels in the game.
Nice. Nice.
He is a busy man, yeah.
Oh, this is Sir Lovelot, yeah.
Yeah, the name checks out.
But, I mean, they're letting him in as long as he brings them a flower. That's all it takes. So, how much can this relationship really be built on?
I would think they'd want to be maybe saved from this castle that's in this area with all these spikes and saw blades.
Oh, the secret collectibles are
Geese?
yeah, geese.
Magical gooses.
And obviously a big difference from Meat Boy is you do have an attack.
Yeah.
You're shooting something? Like, I actually
They look
tried
like fireballs, but...
Lemons?
Yeah, but at one point I was like, is he firing a gun? Does he have a magic spell? Like, what is... Like, he just has projectile.
Yeah.
And it looks like you don't have to redo the entire level each time you die.
It is very generous in that anytime you die, you essentially start on the screen that you were... Like, the beginning of whatever screen you were on. However, any enemies you killed, any levers that you activated, any collectibles that you get are still counted. So you don't have to redo anything except for the platforming portion back up to where you were.
So nothing like Super Meat Boy.
No. The only real comparison for Super Meat Boy is the feel of the gameplay from like a jumping standpoint, like the same like wall grabs and double jumps. Like it just feels like Super Meat Boy, but a little bit looser with the controls.
Sure.
And really the collectibles don't seemingly do anything, because you can ignore everything in the level, just get the flower and finish the level. Even though in later worlds they add more like rings and diamonds that you can collect, but you still only need to get the flower. But for speedrunners, for completionists, every level has a set number of coins, geese, and number of deaths that you can like do this in under this many deaths if you want to try and go for like 100% completion. I haven't beaten the game yet. I don't know if there's like a different ending if you do that, or if there are collectibles for it. But you know, I'm in the third world of 4 myself, and I haven't found anything to use with them at this point.
Okay.
It's probably just like a score thing. Like, it's really just to say you've done it, to try and get that 100% thing, is what I'd imagine.
Yeah, and all of the like geese and hidden items are, or not all of them, but a lot of them are just behind hidden walls that have seemingly no indicator.
So you just try and rub up against the walls every time.
When looking for them, yeah, I'm just going through the levels, and like any wall that looks like the wall right there, the divide, it's not thick enough for something to be there. So I don't need to check that wall. But but any other wall, I mean, you die a lot. Like, there's some levels where I wouldn't die as much if I was just trying to get to the end of the level, but because you're checking walls that might have like hazards on them for collectibles, I've died like 20 times in a level. And it's just because I'm looking for hidden stuff. Because again, it's not like there's a little bit of a gleam or a tear in the wall, some visual cue. It's just you try the wall, and
if it works,
it works. Exactly. I think that it would have been a lot better if they gave you more motivation to get the collectibles in the game.
Yeah, I can see that. Does the combat sort of play a big part in it beyond just having something to shoot?
Yeah, not really, because as long as you're okay with dying, because I would imagine if you're trying to do a no dying run, you can die and just keep killing enemies just to get them out of the way, so that the next time you do the platforming, you have less hazards to consider when you're doing that.
I really like the graphic style. I think it looks pretty sleek for that sprite-based, you know?
And I mean, the best part about the graphics is that they do keep the character small, proportion-wise, so that you can take up more of the screen with like the level, right? Like it's essentially zoomed out so that you're not just seeing little portions of where you're platforming. You can like plan ahead, look ahead to where you need to go.
And the visual difference between the foreground and the background looks pretty good too. So it doesn't interfere, it doesn't make it too noisy, which is one of the most common mistakes I've seen in a lot of these older games, is that they don't really know how to properly make use of the graphics, but this looks perfectly fine.
I mean, it is a nice example of simple graphics, but good graphics. Because you don't have to necessarily be, on the brink of technology to make something that is pleasant to look at.
Yeah.
And the other thing that, we haven't mentioned, which is, a very positive thing, is that it runs very smoothly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not running into frame rate dips or lag or anything like that, which obviously in a game where you do have to rely a little bit more on precise platforming, especially with the number of spikes and saws and different hazards, you need to be more precise, right? Like, you double jump at the wrong second and you'll go into a ledge or hit a ceiling with a spike and you'll die. So even though the controls are a little floaty, though you can get used to them, the fact that everything runs smoothly is definitely a benefit.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think it looks pretty good, and it does look pretty smooth to me. Like, this is everything I would want from a game like this, from what I'm seeing so far.
I honestly think that the only real negative is that, aside from trophies, which I guess we generally do mention trophies in these videos, the platinum is not too bad. You don't have to get all the collectibles. Like, you essentially have to get 50 geese, and there's like 113 in the game, right?
Yeah.
So once you've found the collectibles you need for that, unless you're trying to get perfect runs, which again, I don't see like leaderboards or anything like that, I don't see a motivation to do it. After that, it's just like beeline for the end of the level, which I think does it a disservice, right? Even if like collectibles, unlock different avatars. Maybe one is a knight, maybe one is like an archer-looking character, different color palettes, right? Just something to motivate collectors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see this not having too much motivation beyond the like internal one of just doing it as best as possible.
Now, I did speak to our friend Fred about it. He's actually completed the platinum, which does require you to at least beat the game.
Okay.
And he said it took him about 2 to 3 hours.
So pretty short. What was the price you said again?
$13.49 Canadian, so probably like $9.99 American.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look at it, we're 8 minutes into this, and I've beaten 5-6 levels out of the 40 already. So it's not the longest game. You got to keep that in mind. Later levels, obviously, with more collectibles and more hazards. You get to World 2 and they introduce like swimming, right? So you have a different element of moving at things.
A level of complexity to the puzzle.
Yep, absolutely. In the third world, which is a little bit more like a graveyard haunted type setting, they add things like glaive swinging. You do get like levers that you need to hit to open gates. So they do expand a little bit on it, but not at a super high pace. So keeping that in mind, like you're not going to get a lot out of this game because, right, no leaderboards, no collectibles. You'd beat it once, maybe get the trophies, and then you would be done. So with all of that information in mind, I'm going to ask you guys the question that these episodes are about. Would you consider continuing after the first opinion?
I would actually. Yep, I think it looks like it has just enough to kind of keep me interested for the few hours. I kind of wish it would be a little bit longer for the price. Like maybe if I got it at just under $10. But I mean, it looks pretty fun, and it looks like it plays smoothly, so yeah, I'd play it.
Alex?
I think I would too. I think the relative shortness of it is a boon to me. Like, I wouldn't want to spend a huge amount of time playing a game like this. But it does really look to me like a almost sort of easier, simpler version of Super Meat Boy. And that was one of the those puzzle platformer style games that I did really enjoy. So yeah, I could see myself finishing this game.
I am actually continuing, and I do plan to play it to completion, so obviously my answer is yes. I do agree with you guys, though. The length for the price might be a little bit. If I saw it like half price on the store, I would be more inclined to pick it up. Or if it was on, say, like the Vita or the DS, like a portable, even the Switch, where you can just pick up and play 1 or 2 levels on your day as you go, because it is the kind of game where you can just throw in a couple levels here and there.
All right.
All right, so that's our opinion. Live in the real world, play in a Pixel one.
Hey, did you like that video? If you did, be sure to let us know by clicking the like button and leaving a comment. If you want to be first in line for any new content, be sure to subscribe to our channel and then hit up our Facebook page. The link's in the description below to see what's coming up next.